Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Unit 1 Human Skills in an Organization. Hi students, welcome to Chaitanya Studio BBA video lecture series of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Today, I, Dr. Sonali Chatterjee, will teach you Unit 1 Human Skills in an Organization from Block 1. In today's session, we are going to discuss the concept of organizational development. Further, we will focus on the meaning of capability and its relevance for an individual. We will also discuss the different types of capabilities and the methods of building capabilities. The world today is much different than what it was in the ancient times. Today there is tremendous progress in industry, technology and employees. In order to be successful, we need to learn new skills. Today the life of human being is led by the organization he works for. An organization is a place where a group of people work together to achieve a common goal. To pursue these goals, they would require different set of skills. Most of the modern organizations have recognized the importance of human assets and have separate functions of organizational development. These functions requires participation of all other departments. Hence, the subject is not only of relevance to HR executives, but development is a systematic approach to organizational improvement in order to increase individual and an organization's effectiveness. It is an ongoing process of implementing effective change in how an organization operates. Organizational development can involve interventions in the organization's processes using behavioral science, organizational reflection, system improvement, planning and self-analysis. Organization development is a proactive approach that seeks to enhance employee skills, knowledge and abilities essential to perform the given task. An organization requires different set of abilities like management skills, human skills or interpersonal skills, etc. The human or interpersonal skills are the skills that present the manager's ability to interact, work or relate effectively with people. These skills enable the managers to make use of human potential in the company and motivate the employees for better results. These skills are essential to achieve the organizational goals. As per Benjamin Bloom, there are aspects of human skills like cognitive, affective and psychomotor skills. It is important to firstly conduct a self-assessment of skills that you possess. Further, the main point is the employee's participation in the development activity. Next, we will study the important concepts and meanings. A good leader needs to have functional competency along with the skills in order to be successful. Further to that, having work competency or being competent at work involves having the necessary knowledge, skills and behavior to deal with day-to-day problems and issues. What do you mean by knowledge? Knowledge can be defined as the information acquired through education and experiences. For example, Rajesh has the task to ensure the hiring process is effective or not in identifying the best candidates for the job in his company. For this, Rajesh would have to review the evaluate and various employment procedures to determine which, if applied correctly, would result in the selection of the best candidate. Therefore, he needs to have previously required information and knowledge related to an effective hiring process. Thus, knowledge is essential for learning a skill. Next is skill. A skill is a person's capabilities needed to perform a set of tasks. These capabilities are developed as a result of training and experiences. An individual's skills can be examined by how well he is able to carry out a specific task. Person learning to operate a machine is first given knowledge in the form of instructions on how to operate a machine. Once he has the knowledge, he is given training on the machine to develop his skills to operate the machinery in the best possible way. Through training and subsequent experience on working on the machine helps him to master this skill. In simple terms, skills equals to acting towards goals. Next, attitude. A predisposition or a tendency to respond positively or negatively towards a certain idea, person, object or situation. In simple terms, it is an individual beliefs and opinions supports to or inhabit behavior is called an attitude. Attitudes can be positive or negative and affect the motivation level of persons. Let us understand positive and negative attitudes with the help of examples. Naresh was promoted as a team leader against his expectations and tough competition. Since his promotion, he has been telling his wife that he likes and enjoys his work more. This is his feeling. He is working harder, expresses behavior and is focused on how to succeed as a leader, his thoughts. We can infer that this promotion has caused Naresh to develop a more positive attitude towards work. In another example, Bijal received a bonus much below her expectations. On the top of it, she was assigned as a project that might require her work at odd hours. Bijal now does not like her boss, this is her feeling, is doing the minimum necessary work required of her as per the rules, shows her behavior and is thinking of the quitting. We can say that Bijal has developed a negative attitude for her boss. We can say that Bijal has developed a negative attitude towards her boss, and since the boss represents the organization, she has a negative attitude towards this organization and her work there. Next is competency. Is a set of knowledge, skills and attitudes that enable a person to be successful in performing a task. In other words, competency equals to succeeding at goal, choosing what we effectively judge as appropriate acts. See the capabilities, requirement of different categories of people in an organization. The strength of any organization is its people. If people in the organizations are looked after properly, then the organization would grow faster. Some ways in which people can be looked after it properly is by recognizing their talents, developing their skills and utilizing them the most effective manner. Some of them may have capabilities to do certain tasks better than the other, and some of them may not have capabilities to do the task assigned to them. Thus, it is important for an organization to allocate tasks as per a person's capabilities. It is also important for an organization to identify needs and create opportunities for developing different capabilities. People in an organization are treated as resources, and with proper investment in training, these human capabilities can be multiplied. When the capabilities of the people in any organization are multiplied, the organization has wider choices for performing different functions. It also helps the organization to expand, diversify, etc. People in any organization are involved in performing a variety of tasks. Performing this task required a variety of capabilities includes first, technical capabilities, second, managerial capabilities, third, human capabilities, fourth, conceptual capabilities. Understand all the terms in details. 1. Technical capabilities would mean proficiency in specific kind of activity. Examples are doctors, engineers, machine operators who have proficiency in a specific kind of activity. Number 2 is managerial capabilities, include planning, organizing, staffing, leading and controlling. Planning means establishing goals and standards, developing rules and procedures, developing plans and forecasting, predicting or projecting some future occurrences. We will understand this with an example. We all plan our activities in our daily lives, whether it be deciding at what time to wake up in the morning so that we reach school or college or work on time, or deciding how much time to spend on a particular activity. Similarly, for an organization, the term planning involves establishing goals and standards for the organization. Next is organizing. Organizing involves creating a structure of a task or set of tasks. Large and complex job or work are divided into smaller, more manageable components, and they are integrated for achieving the final outcome. Specific tasks are assigned to specific positions so that confusion is avoided. At the organization level, it includes creation of departments, assigning authority and responsibility to subordinates, and ensuring proper coordination among those departments. Staffing decides what type of people should be hired, recruiting efficient employees, selecting employees, setting performance standards, compensating employees, evaluating performance, counseling employees, training and developing employees. For example, if an owner, let us say Ms. Radha, of an online business thinks of opening up a shop while continuing to sell online, she is structuring her work, selling one's product online as well as offline through a shop. If the owner is thinking about hiring one shop managers and one shop assistant as well as one accountant, and is thinking about what should be their responsibilities, qualifications and pay, then she has not only structured the work and created positions, but she is thinking about staffing. Leading refers to making others perform a particular job, maintaining morale, motivating subordinates. It may be difficult to give an example which illustrates all dimensions of leadership in one, but let us say when the business survives the initial phase, at some point there may be question involving how exactly will the growth be achieved in future. Should there be more shops in more cities or within one city first? What new products will be added to the range of offerings? Answer to these questions are closely related to the strategy, which is usually provided by the leader. The direction provided by the leader decide what kind of organizational capabilities will be required, and in turn that shapes the expectations in terms of employee skill, abilities, knowledge and more. Last is controlling. Setting standards such as sales quotas, quality standards or production levels, checking to see how actual performance compares with the standards, taking corrective actions as needed. Next point is human capabilities. These are capabilities which are concerned with the ability of people to deal with other humans. These consist of abilities to motivate, influence, lead, generate team spirit, resolve conflict, interpersonal skills, communication skills, negotiation skills, leading, influencing and motivation skills. Next is conceptual capabilities. These capabilities include the ability to visualize the future of the organization and give it direction, to recognize how the various function of the organization depends on one another to achieve its goals. Example, ability to think strategically and to see the big pictures in order to make decisions concerning the overall functioning of the organization. We look at the example to understand the various capabilities in automobile industry. Lower level jobs like shop floor operators, fresh engineers, etc. require a high level of technical capabilities, whereas middle level managers require managerial capabilities like planning, organizing, etc. We go higher, that is head of the department or a general manager requires human and conceptual capabilities like leading a team to achieve a target, generating team spirit, resolving conflict, etc. People capability maturity model is a maturity framework that focuses on continuously improving the management and development of the human assets of an organization. It describes an evolutionary improvement path from ad hoc, inconsistently performed pictures to a mature, disciplined and continuously improving development of the knowledge, skills and motivation of the workforce that enhance strategic business performance. People capability model is a framework that helps organizations successfully address critical issues of their people based on the best current practices in the field such as human resources, knowledge management and organizational development. The PCMM guides organizations in improving their process for managing and developing their workforce. It helps organizations characterize the maturity of their work practices, establishing a program of continuous workforce development, set priorities for improvement actions, integrate workforce development with process improvement and establish a culture of excellence. We will study the mechanism for developing these capabilities. There is more than one type of learning. Benjamin Bloom identified 3 domains of abilities. First, cognitive, that is mental skills, means knowledge. Second, affective, that is growth in feelings or emotional areas, called as attitude. Third, psychomotor, that is manual or physical skills. Learning facilitators often refers to these 3 categories as KSA, knowledge, skills and attitude. This taxonomy of learning behaviors can be thought of as the goals of the learning process. That is, after a learning episode, the learner should have acquired new skills, knowledge and or attitudes. Knowledge, skills and attitudes are required most of the capabilities. The knowledge dimension of capability involves gaining and understanding knowledge, information, etc. in order to perform the jobs. The skill dimensions involved in actually performing the task with the acquired knowledge and information received. Next, the attitude dimension deals with gaining the motivation and desire to use the knowledge and understanding in the most effective way. It is easier to develop the knowledge dimension as compared to the attitude and skill dimensions. Reading books as well as literature and attending lectures and courses helps in acquiring knowledge. Skills can be acquired or developed only through actual participation by doing the task in real life setting or in stimulated setting. For example, one cannot be good machine operator by listening or attending the course on how to operate the machine. The more practice one gets on the machine, the better would be the development of his skills to operate the machine. Professional education is an engineering college or a management institute equips people mostly with knowledge dimension, but not necessarily with the skill dimension. Thus, the responsibility of developing employee capabilities to cater its own requirements lies with the same organizations itself. Some examples of methods used by organization to develop capabilities of their employees are on the job training. Here a person learns a job by actually performing it. He is guided by an instructor who guides and helps the person to learn the correct methods of doing the job. Apprenticeship training is an example on the job training. Program learning, it is a method for teaching job skills by presenting questions or facts, then allowing the participants to respond and giving the immediate feedback to the answers given. Simulated training, it is conducted in a separate room where the participant use the equipment which they will actually using on the job. Examples: aircraft pilot training. Concepts and conditions for development capabilities involves acquiring skills that would enable a person to perform a job well. For developing the capabilities, the following conditions must be fulfilled. First, the individual should himself be interested in developing his own capabilities. If the person is not interested, he is not likely to learn. Next, the individual should set clear goals with regards to what type of capabilities he wants to develop. Setting clear goals helps an individual to develop his capabilities faster as he is aware of the direction in which he could develop. Third, he or she must do a SWOT analysis of his own capabilities to know their strengths and weaknesses. This will help them to develop in the areas they are weak. The individual should identify the opportunities within and outside the organization for their development. Fifth, the individual should make an effort to learn and develop. Sixth point is, individuals should review their learning and applications of learning periodically with the guidance of their superior. These conditions are very important for a person to acquire different types of skills in order to be successful on the job. Now, cognitive theory is a learning theory of psychology that attempts to explain human behavior by understanding the thought process. The assumption is that humans are logical beings makes the choices the most sense to them. Information processing is a commonly used description of the mental process. Comparing the human mind to a computer, it is a concern with the development of a person's thought processes. It also looks at how these thought processes influence how we understand and interact with the world. The leading cognitive thinker was Jean Piaget, who proposed an idea that children think differently than adults. Piaget then proposed a theory of cognitive development to account for the steps and sequence of children's intellectual development. Before we end, let's sum up. In this unit, we have learned self-development by acquiring new skills which is important to perform the given task effectively. You have learned the concepts of capability development that refers to enhancing the performance by improving the attitudes, skills and competencies. You have also studied the different types of capabilities required at workplace include technical, managerial, human and conceptual capabilities. Next, the people capabilities maturity model is a tool that is used to address the developmental concern of organizations employee. Next, to acquire these capabilities, an individual has to be self-motivated and ready to learn new skills. These are coming to an end. Our first unit of our first block. Please read our content, participate in online forum and answer the questions we have listed based on what you have learned today. We will see you again soon.
स्वाध्यायः परमम्